there, Aileen from AileenCooks.com. Sorry, I was having some weird technical difficulties, but I'm whipping up a batch of slow cooker chicken noodle soup for my family, using up some leftover chicken. You can also use raw chicken, but I usually make this meal after I cook a whole chicken in my crock pot. So now I'm making soup. I already made broth. Here's some homemade broth right here. Also, you can make that in the crock pot too. So I'm going to use all of these things to make a really good comforting soup for my family. So the first thing I'm doing, I already chopped up some onions. So I'm just going to put those in to my crock pot, which is actually a Hamilton Beach slow cooker. But crock pot is the universal name, so I use that one too. So starting with the onions, and you can hear my baby in the background. She's sitting next to me, you just can't see her. So we'll see how long she tolerates me not holding her. And then my toddler's outside, so she might come in at some point too, because I think it's going to start raining again in a minute. So now I'm just going to cut up these carrots. Carrots, of course, go in chicken noodle soup, and they add a really nice flavor. I like that they soften up really nicely in the slow cooker. It's like cooking it all day on the stove, but as you know, the slow cooker is just awesome because you can set it up and forget. Usually I cook this 6 to 8 hours, but today, since it's already lunchtime, I'm just going to cook it on high for like 4 hours. Hi, Katie. Katie's in here, so she might come say hi at some point. She's eating snacks. So now I'm just chopping up these carrots. And as I mentioned, you can make a whole chicken. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. So you can make a whole chicken in the crock pot. I like to buy the 2-pack from Costco, throw one in the freezer, and then throw one directly in my slow cooker just over some onions. I have a full recipe on my blog, AileenCooks.com. And you can also find it in my cookbook that I offer for free to all of my subscribers. Honey, I'm sorry I can't help you right now, but when I'm done I can help you, okay? So now I'm just putting the carrots into the crock pot because they're all chopped up, diced. They're supposed to be diced, but it's really kind of however you like it because they get super, super soft. Oh, baby can't have fruit snack.
Yeah.
Cue the antics because I'm on camera of my toddler. This is interesting. I haven't done it this way before without my husband helping. So now I'm cutting up celery. And again, chunks are fine because it's going to get really soft and delicious and just add a really good flavor to the broth. The broth also, when I make the broth for any soup I make, I usually make my own broth just because it's less expensive if you're buying chickens with bones anyway. I usually add in like a celery and a carrot just broken in half, or if you save the ends and stick them in your freezer along with any onion skins and carrot ends, you could throw all of that in your crock pot with the chicken bones when you have it, and it can be frozen and it'll defrost right in there. Or if you have an instant pot, I also have a recipe for an instant pot broth on the blog as well, which again is AileenCooks.com. So here I am finishing up the celery. It's 3 full stalks of celery. If there's leaves on your celery, just leave them on because they add a nice flavor. You don't really notice them in the end result. I'm cutting up the whole thing because again, it's just going to really cook down soft. No one's going to notice that the ends are in there and they're delicious. So there's the celery. Now I have some chicken. It calls for 2 cups of cooked chicken, but you can also use 2 cups of raw chicken. It really doesn't matter because it's going to cook in the broth. I just generally use cooked chicken for this recipe, again, because I cook a whole chicken and make my broth and save the extra chicken for the soup. So I'm just cutting it into chunks. If you wanted to use raw chicken, you could just stick the entire chicken breast in with the broth and the veggies, and then when it's time to turn the slow cooker off, just pull it out and shred it or cube it and stick it back in. And that's the point when you would also stick in the noodles. I don't put the noodles in right now because they'll be mush by the time you're done. So I actually just throw them in right before I serve it, and that's plenty of time to cook an egg noodle. So there is the chicken, celery, carrots, and onion. Now it calls for 2 teaspoons of salt, but it really depends on if you're using low sodium salt or low sodium broth or regular broth. I don't tend to add a lot of salt to my broth, so I do use a full 2 teaspoons in the soup, but I would experiment. If you're using full sodium broth, I would reduce the salt a bit. So I'm actually just gonna eyeball it for today. And this is another Costco thing. These giant salt and pepper shake grinders are amazing because they're very affordable. Oh, thanks, honey. Did I drop the cayenne? And then we're gonna add in some pepper. Katie, you wanna say hi? Look up at the phone, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, and then we're gonna add in a half a teaspoon of cayenne. And this is almost gone, so I'm gonna pour it in. This is a half a teaspoon. So I'm gonna do 2 of the parsley. Just rinse this off real quick. This is dried parsley flakes. So it calls for 1 teaspoon of parsley. So I'm gonna do 2 of these half teaspoons. And same with the oregano. 1, 2, 1 bay leaf. These are kind of broken up, so I'm actually gonna use 2. Throw them in there. And then I have 4 cups of chicken broth. The recipe can be found on my blog and I will put it in the notes. So 4 cups of that. 4 about is fine. That's equal to 1 carton of chicken broth. And then 5 cups of water. So I'm just gonna go refill this real quick with water. And then you're just gonna cook this on low. If you started in the morning at 6 to 8 hours, or if you're starting in the middle of the day, 3 to 4 hours on high is totally fine. Even if you've got raw chicken in there, I would just make sure it's 4 hours on high. If it's already cooked chicken, 3 hours is fine. Okay, so here's the pasta that I'm gonna use. It's just an egg noodle. Oh, honey. It's just an egg noodle. Cue the crying baby. So throw this in at the end. And that's it. I'm gonna sign off because my baby's crying, but I will include the recipe. Thanks, guys. Say bye-bye.